Local government autonomy in Nigeria has been a contentious issue for decades. The 1999 Constitution, as amended, recognizes local governments as the third tier of government, but also ties their powers to state governments. This ambiguity has led to some misunderstandings. Recently, the Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment supporting local government autonomy. However, implementation remains a challenge for local governments to truly function as autonomous entities. They need to improve their internally generated revenue and adopt measures to curb corruption and promote transparency and accountability. Nasarawa state government has now demonstrated its commitment to ensure full financial autonomy at local government as Governor Abdullahi Sule signed the 2024 local government law, which abolished the joint account system between the state government and local government areas consequently. Now, this has granted full financial autonomy to local councils in the state. This indeed is a significant progress by the state government in granting autonomy to its local governments, which aligns with the Supreme Court judgment. And Nigeria today shall be looking at local government autonomy and states compliance. I am Eucharia Clinton, and welcome to Nigeria Today. Joining us in the studio for today's conversation is Tanimu Abubakar Ahmed. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you for having me. It's a delight to be here.
Tanimu is a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Okay, and we hopefully will be joined by from Lafia by the Attorney General of Nasarawa State, but we're still waiting for that. When he joins us, we'll definitely introduce him. Now, let me start with you, Tanimu. Nasarawa State has taken the first step by striking out the joint account, thereby giving the local government the financial autonomy. Now, tell us how do you perceive this development?
It's a welcome development, and we encourage all other states to follow suit. It's a step in the right direction, and the state government must be commended, and national state government must be commended for trying to give effect to the judgment of the Supreme Court. Having said that, the fundamental issues are yet to be addressed. Issue of local government autonomy is being celebrated based on the judgment of the Supreme Court, but it goes far beyond that. There are other salient issues that need to be addressed. Paramount among which is, if you look at it, most states in the Federation, they are highly indebted to commercial banks, to various financial institutions and government agencies. And those debts, some were taken on behalf of local government by the state government. So they needed time to reconcile their accounts and know what portion of such kind of debts will now be attributed to the local government for repayment. Then you equally have the issue of the independence. Over time, the issue has not only been about having local government autonomy, it goes beyond that. Those in power, we've seen that across the various states of the Federation, elections were already conducted, and most of the states, you have a 99.9% electoral victory, which we all know that these are shams election that really do not stand the test of time. The credibility for such elections are highly questionable, because we all know that it's not practically possible for election to be conducted in various states, and you now have the government in power always returning victorious. It calls for concern. Over time, what has been the problem is that those elected as local government chairman, they are not really accountable to the people, because they are not truly elected. Most of them were appointed and by the governor, so they operate their offices at the whims and caprices of the governor. So what we are afraid of is not about the autonomy per se. We will now have a situation where local government chairmen, the practice has been on in the past. They will voluntarily receive allocation from the federation account, and they will now be dictated upon by the governors on where such amount and allocation will be channeled to. And if you look at it, most of the times these are executed contracts that were being facilitated by the various state government, the governors. We still have a Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. In most local government, you have first-class chiefs and the rest. So the burden per se is still very much on the local government. The autonomy will only make any meaningful impact when you have a situation where you now have credible elections at all local governments, whereby the people's yearning and aspiration will be reflected based on the leadership they have at the. So we're talking about having government at the grassroots level that truly reflect the yearning and aspiration of this ordinary citizenry. Until we have that, no matter what areas states might adopt in terms of ensuring autonomy for local government, there's still a very huge lacuna. I'm telling you, you have a situation where local government chairman, we willingly, I want to put it in layman's language, they will sign off their allocation and they will return it back to the various state government. That's all the governor in question, because they lack that independence to actually operate a fully autonomous entity. For now, our constitution, there is no clear-cut distinction. We operate a central and we have the federal government and the state government. The recognition given to local government in the constitution merely talks about naming them, and we still have this issue on having some kind of supervisory control over the state, over the local government by the state government. So the autonomy per se, we celebrate it, we yearn for it, we clamor for it, we pray for it, we fight for it, but it will make more impact if you have local government that are truly independent. Independent will start from having the right leadership that has been elected by the people. For now, you have various state electoral commissions. Some of them they are not properly funded. Some of them are being controlled. So if you have the mechanism that will bring leaders to power, being dictated upon, being controlled by the governors, it means the who play the piper dictate the tune of the music. They will continue to have appointees, so to say, of the governors in power. So it's a good step for Nasarawa State. We commend the governor, we commend the government of Nasarawa State. They are being proactive, but we want that the proactiveness of Nasarawa State government is not enough. There's a need for a holistic approach to give effect to the judgment of the Constitution. The best approach is to amend the Constitution, and the local government should now be made a third tier properly in stricto sensu, to be a third tier of government. Then the electioneering should not be left at the state level. The argument that people are arguing that why will the federal government be the one conducting election in local government? We have representatives at the National Assembly from various local governments. The elections are being conducted by INEC.
Okay, I will have to stop you here, Tanimu. And right now we're being joined from Lafia by the Attorney General of Nasarawa State and Commissioner for Justice, Labaran Magaji. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you very much.
Now, Honorable Commissioner, Nasarawa has taken the first step by, scrapping off the joint account between the state government and the local government. Tell us what inspired this move and what does it really mean for the local government?
Thank you very much, the viewers, and my very good friend, Tanimu Namu. Nasarawa State, you will recall that the judgment of the Supreme Court granting autonomy to the local government across the country is not strange. Nasarawa State, under the leadership of His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, who has consistently been an adherent of the rule of law, who has been one in the forefront in ensuring that local governments are self-dependent, even before the declaration of the Supreme Court. Now, even the defense we put up in the Supreme Court as a state was that, look, three things are very key. One, to ensure democratically elected officials at the local government level during the period under which the case was going on, Nasarawa State had one, and two, that all states, no state should tamper with the local government funds. And since in his inception in office 2019, His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Sule has been consistent in ensuring that one dime has never been tampered with. On the contrary, he augments the subventions of the local government to enable them pay salaries and meet up with their other demands, and ensure that there is a proper saving for the development of the rural areas, particularly with respect to the security which is usually occurring in the rural areas. And then above all, he ensured that every local government is up and doing in terms of projects and developmental strides. So when this judgment came on board, it was an easy one, because the judgment came with a specific feature, and the feature was to tamper with the Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to the effect that the local government state joint account be abolished, on the in place of which any money accruing to the local government should go directly to them. And immediately, His Excellency the Governor prompted the need for us to actually amend our local government laws. And that's now was what was responsible for the amendment of the Nasarawa State Local Government Law 2018. Now we have Nasarawa State Local Government Law 2024, which actually repealed the local government law 2018. And in his speech, when he was signing that law, assenting that law, bill into law 2 days ago, he made specific mention that under this new regime, the state local government's joint account is hereby abolished. He made it express without any contradiction, no controversy. In fact, the language was very simple, direct, and straight to the point. And he went further to state why the joint account is abolished. And one of the reasons why he said that is to enable the local government manage their own resources. And I think there can never be any better bold step taken by any governor than what His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Sule did. And he really meant what he's actually said. So this is one of the motivations of the states taking this bold step.
Okay, thank you very much. Now back to you, as much as we've heard, you say that there's still a lacuna and all of that, but then you heard what the commissioner said, the autonomy. You know, it is usually said that if you give a man money and power, you know the worth of the real man.
Absolutely.
Now the local government have gained financial autonomy, and Nasarawa State has taken the first step. Now, how will this autonomy impact the grassroots?
Ordinarily, you know, government is at the grassroots level. So that's why I said I completely align with my good friend, the Honorable Commissioner. What he states is that the Nasarawa State is leading the pace, setting a good example as a paragon for other states to emulate. But the tax is daunting. They need to do more. Other states should emulate what Nasarawa State are doing. We know the resistance some governors had, because they know that, as I said, we know the issue of debt. They have loans. They have some other projects that jointly, if you talk about primary health care education, the various state SUBEB, state universal basic education, most of these bodies will need input from the state government. Then equally, I hope it will equally flow, since you are abolishing the joint account, the commissioners of local government and chieftaincy affairs. I think that should be abolished too, because it's one of the most powerful ministries in various state government, whereby they control the resources. So if they are abolishing the joint account, the commissioner of local government should be, maybe the designation now should be amended to only read chieftaincy affairs and maybe religious matters also. Talking about the impact, government is at the grassroots level. There are a lot of developmental threats. We should not only ordinarily rely on the federal government for everything, and that is why anytime there is a problem, people normally will castigate the presidency, but they forget to realize that government is at the grassroots level. What concerns somebody in Kiana, somebody in Toto with the presidency, there are things that ordinarily the local government should be able to dispense with. If you don't have pavement issue, you don't have connecting roads, these are the responsibility of local government. But over time, the funding has not been there. We want to see a situation where we have viable and vibrant local government, like the way we used to have it up to 1999, and 1999 down to 2023 or so. You see a semblance of activity going on, employment, but over time too there has been, as you said, money and power will lead to abuses. I have relatives that are on the payroll of local, they've never been to work, and if you look at I have seen somebody that is collecting salaries of about 30 people having their ATM cards and the rest. So the autonomy should come with a lot of responsibilities, and the state governments across board, they should have anti-graft agency. They should not put it on the beck and call of the ICPC and the EFCC. State governments should equally should be proactive to create anti-corruption body to regulate the activities of local government. We have supervisory role being performed by the various state houses of assembly. The local government too, they have their own chamber where you have the councillors overseeing. So the issue basically has to do with corruption. When you have corruption and high-handedness, you result into abuses. So that desired result will not be achieved. I will still reiterate the point. We are commending Nasarawa state government for taking the lead. You know, by the time you start in this trajectory, it means more goodies will come the way naturally, because if you set in the machineries and the motion in place, we will begin to see dividends of democracy trickling down to the people at the grassroots level. The rural-urban migration will kind of, the Nasarawa state is strategically positioned. Imagine if they harness the potentials. You have housing problem in Abuja, and the Karu local government is sharing boundary with Abuja. Imagine what will happen by the time Nasarawa government re-energize its efforts at linking the various connecting. A lot of people, a lot of staff are coming all the way from Nasarawa. So now imagine you have a local government that is up and doing. You can have housing scheme, you can go into partnership, into developmental arrangement, and with that, we envisage a situation, since National State is taking the lead, they should be able to even complement what obtains in the federal capital territory.
The impact will trickle down to
it trickle down everywhere. Yes, more focus will be on income generation, internally generated revenue.
Thank you very much. Now, Honorable Commissioner, there's an issue here that Ahmed Tanimu raised, which is the issue of checkmating, the excesses of the local government, because having given them this autonomy, are there measures in place to ensure that the monies released are adequately utilized, and there is a sort of accountability and transparency in these disbursements of this money and how it's been used generally?
You see, thank you very much. You see, it is usually in our character, sorry to say, to criticize whatever positive steps any government takes, either at the federal or the state level. I think we should begin to change from criticizing rather than, criticizing to profiling positive support contributions towards enhancing whatever good thing that is really put in place. For example, we are talking about abolishing the joint account, and this joint account is an avenue through which genuinely monies meant for the local government is supposed to be deposited in that account, and what is due to the local government by the states should equally be deposited in that account, usually 10% or 20%, as the case may be, of the state's internally generated revenue. Then whatever you are able to put together, you now share it to all the local governments so that they can now have some kind of a semblance of even development. Now that we have abolished the the joint account. The idea is for us to have a robust ideas coming from experts that will further enhance the autonomy of this local government, because we are going into a new regime that has been forgotten for a very long time. Now, we are all aware that one of the major challenges of this country is not the absence of resources, but the corruption that has eaten deep into the fabrics of everyone that is being able to give in any slightest opportunity to man these resources. So we need to put machineries in place to check some of those things. And I think this has nothing to do with either abolishing the Ministry for Local Government. Now that you are even asking that there should be some kind of monitoring mechanism by the states to ensure that the essence of the autonomy is felt by the people of the grassroots level, then what are the machineries that should be put in place by the states? These are some of the conversations that should move on, moving forward after the grant of, the grant of this autonomy. My very good friend Ahmed mentioned some of the components that the new regime has to grapple with: the UBEC, the primary school teachers, the primary health care, local government pensions, what happens to the local government service commission in terms of fair recruitment and empowering them with skill to actually man this new regime. What happened to all of this? Now, it is my views that the states is not constitutionally or legally bound to actually retain all of these structures. But again, how prepared are the new local governments to take over this responsibility? Do they have the manpower in place? Do they have the skill in place? Do they have the resources actually in place? What about the bureaucracy? Do they have all of this in place? Because this thing is coming spontaneous, and the election, like for example in Nasarawa State, has just been concluded on Saturday. And of course, in the wisdom of His Excellency, eager to see that development has reached the grassroots, he has already sworn them in and asked them to swing into action. So these are some of the things that I think we should be brainstorming about. And for Nasarawa State that have shown political will to take the center stage, should be provided with certain contributions towards enhancing and institutionalizing this right step that the governor has taken.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. Now back to you, Ahmed. I just want you to, in 30 seconds, give us, your closing thought. Some of the things he also pointed out.
Yeah, I align completely with what you said, and equally align with what I said. More now should be done by the state government. More should be done by the federal government. It's not about Nasarawa State alone. We need to ensure and help every state to make the next local government.
Yes, I was about asking, why do you think some other states are like, will I say, taking reluctant. Their time, reluctant?
Yes, because the facts have just been adumbrated here. We talk about the issue of bureaucracy and capacity. Do they have the capacity to be left alone to do what they like? I doubt if they have. So the state government now should now deliberately set in motion. As I said, anti-graft agency at the various states should be in place. Those states that don't have it should have it in place. Like Nasarawa now, they should have an anti-corruption agency to complement the effort. Then the issue of the pension, the issue of the primary education, all those aspects, experts should be brought in. They should be brought on the table so that they will now synergize, brainstorm, and find practical, proactive steps.
Yes, all hands on deck.
All hands
to ensure that it works.
But we must commend the Nasarawa State government for doing
Thank
the right
you
thing.
very much to the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Nasarawa State, Labaran Magaji. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Also, we have here in the studio Abubakar Tanimu Ahmed. Thank you so much.
Thank you
He's
for having me.
Public affairs analyst and a lawyer.
Always a delight being here.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am Ikaria Clinton. Goodbye.